In the previous section, we looked into how can you apply guardrails around Azure OpenAI services, and we touched upon responsible AI concepts. In this part, we are going to learn about what is Azure AI content safety. Enjoy.
So we actually, anytime you interact with the model, the first stage before your API request gets to the model, we actually do a content safety check. And you can configure this, and you can turn up the configuration to make it more to reduce the risk of bad negative content being sent to the model or being sent back. But you can't turn it off. There is a process you can turn it off. You can request and contact Microsoft, but in most cases you do not want to do this and do not need to do this. So Microsoft provides that layer of content safety, and that tries to minimize the potential harms. But it's always important to remember these models are trained on a large corpus of public data. They may have biases in them, and there are prompt engineering techniques that we can actually use to reduce that. We can actually tell the model, as part of the prompt, we don't typically do this. We just say, um, give me this information or answer this question. But if we actually instruct the model in our prompt that it shouldn't be biased, it should, can worry about these things and these area of biases and be considerate of those, the model will actually do a better job of reducing those. Now, one other thing we often don't see, if you've used copilot.microsoft.com or you've used ChatGPT through the OpenAI platform, you're interacting with a service, and that service is putting a whole lot of additional messages or guardrails in the prompt. So what you ask it, you say, how do I make how to give me a recipe for lasagna. The model is actually going to add a number of guardrails in to the prompt that is being sent to the model on your behalf. You never see them, but they happen. And that is part of the prompt engineering task as prompt engineers, is how do we make sure we're putting in the guardrails to ensure that the model is giving us the right output. Now, when you're using the Azure OpenAI models directly, it becomes your responsibility to put those specific guardrails in. However, even if you don't put them in, Microsoft adds content safety, which ensures perhaps it isn't necessarily going to prevent a biased output, but what it is going to prevent is these four areas of hate, sexual, self-harm, and violence. Those four areas are automatically protected and looked at from every prompt that goes through the system, and you can be more aggressive of how sensitive you want the content safety filters to be. But that's really important to understand. That is very much a differentiation that Microsoft has built the Azure OpenAI service with these in mind.